Bickley and Marotta Mornings. Arizona Sports, the local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
They say learning is a gift, even when pain is your teacher, and let's hope that is what's happening to the Phoenix Suns. That owner, Matt Ishbia, has finally pivoted from star hunter to team builder, that he has learned more than his share of hard lessons in his first few years on the job. But there is one large obstacle left, and his name is Bradley Beal. Now that the Bucks have waived Dame Lillard, there is no shot at trading Beal. Not when the teams that might be interested in him already know the Suns are desperate to get rid of him. But to spread out the pain of a buyout, Ishbia will have to convince Beal to give back $14 million and settle for a $96 million buyout. Will Beal cooperate? The other issue is this. What if Beal signs a low-key deal with the Clippers and becomes the toast of Los Angeles? Questions will rain down on the Suns once again, as in, why did they feel so compelled to part ways with a former All-Star? There could be many more embarrassing days ahead. Either way, Beal represents a defining moment. Prior to this season, the largest NBA buyout in history was $31 million to Bison Dele, so swallowing $100 million is an epic fail and a huge mistake, and hopefully the last really big mistake the Suns make for quite some time. All right, today's Bickley Blast brought to you by my great friends at Chapman BMW. Make luxury attainable. Find them online at chapmanbmw.com.
I mean, it feels like a trade is highly improbable at this point. Teams are, running out of money in free agency, and it's just not a lot of destinations that you can imagine getting to that number for him in a trade. So I would imagine that a buyout would be most likely involving Bradley Beal and him perhaps giving something back. But at the same time, like you mentioned, Damian Lillard didn't give anything back. He's going to get all of that money. And so if you're Bradley Beal and his representation, I'm sure you could make the argument, well, Damian Lillard just had that when he's Damian Lillard and he's out for a season. With Bradley Beal, why would we have to give anything back? So I'm sure those negotiations will happen, but ultimately, if you're Bradley Beal and you really want to go to a situation where you're wanted in a team, because you could sign anywhere, maybe giving something back is advantageous for you. And so I think that's the most likely outcome for him.
That is Kevin O'Connor, who appeared on Burns and Gambo yesterday afternoon here on Arizona Sports, talking about possible outcomes, likely outcomes for Bradley Beal. Trade probably doesn't seem very possible. The wave and stretch thing, it's going to take anything the Suns want to do with Bradley Beal requires cooperation from Bradley Beal.
How about it?
Where the Milwaukee Bucks made headlines and Chris B. Haynes said it, look, Damian Lillard didn't know this was coming. The Suns can't do that to Bradley Beal.
No, you're right. There are going to be no surprises when it comes to Bradley Beal. The fundamental difference is the money that was paid to Dame Lillard to go away so he can sign wherever he wants when he gets healthy again. There's going to be a period of time and where you're not going to see Dame Lillard as he rehabs. So it's not like he can go sign with somebody and kind of expose the Bucks or embarrass the Bucks with great play elsewhere. Bradley Beal can do that, and it will lead to those questions. Okay, why again? Why couldn't you have used him as a bit piece, a role player? Would he really have been that detrimental to the team? Devin Booker doesn't seem to have much issue with him when he's talked about Bradley Beal. These are all very, very relevant questions. And to me, one of the issues I've had with the previous regime and their approach was there's just no accountability for this. For how did this happen? Who is responsible for this? How did you guys ever think Bradley Beal was a good idea with the no trade clause? And we're seeing right now, as Vinny pointed out earlier, this new trend in the NBA where you have a guy who suffers a catastrophic injury, you're pulling the plug on your entire operation and resetting. Because of these tax considerations and apron considerations and all that kind of stuff. But with Bradley Beal and this new team that they're trying to build, and as I said in the blast, my hope is that for all this mess that has to be cleaned up, and Bradley Beal is the last big pile on the floor that's got to get swept away. Not him. It represents. I'm not trying to say that, but I hope it represents a change from star hunter to team builder.
Yeah, I also wonder now knowing what's coming to Phoenix in the Kevin Durant trade, and Jalen Green is a big part of that. Jalen Green is a two-guard. There's no denying it.
Yeah.
What he does from a skill set standpoint. If the return would have been different, and Jalen Green or another two-guard wasn't part of the mix, would Bradley Beal be welcomed back?
That's a good point.
If it was Jabari Smith instead of Jalen.
Yeah, would the thinking be softened there? Like, hey, you know what? KD's gone. Let's give this a go. Or how much of it is just we need to do an about-face 180-degree turn out of what we just saw for the last 2 years, and Bradley Beal was part of it.
Yeah, listen, I think there's a lot of the latter in the air because they are hell-bent on creating a grittier team that plays very, very hard, that plays with their hair on fire at all times. Colin Gillespie's kind of a poster boy for that, and so I think that spiritually, for the vibe of the team, I can see why they think it's essential to get him out of here.
The 0% chance thing was months before the Kevin Durant trade ever happened.
That's true.
They were ready to,
but you
move on.
remember, Gambo was very, out of the gates, was very, very steadfast in that thinking, and then it softened a little bit, and now it's steadfast again. That they don't want him.
Well, it went from 0% he'll return to 100% they don't want him to return.
Right.
Which are two different things.
Two different things.
Yeah.
See, Kevin O'Connor brought up a really interesting point of if Bradley Beal eventually doesn't feel welcome and like he doesn't want to play basketball here, he can, like, he doesn't have to use his no trade clause. He can ask to kind of be bought out and then go pick a team, which is kind of worst case scenario. If you're going to do that, just tell us what team you want to go to so we can potentially make a deal to get even something back.
I just think this has been going on for so long, seemingly, because we've been talking about it forever. If there was a team that was interested in trading for Bradley Beal, we would know that team.
Yeah, there's not going to be. So you're going to do. I think that the last game, if Bradley Beal really wants to play hardball, and he might want to after what he endured last year, and his agent might say, no, you're getting every penny just the way Dame Lillard did, and they're going to have to figure it out. That's maybe when you do the route of sending him home, because either way, you're going to have to force him to cooperate on some level with you.
It is just different from any experience that we've had on that, even similar experiences. The Jay Crowder, go home. Go home, Jay.
Yeah.
We knew why that happened.
Mm-hmm.
There was a personality conflict. There was a chasm between.
Yeah. Monty Williams didn't like how Jay Crowder rolled.
Yes, and he wanted to start Cam Johnson, and Jay Crowder didn't want that, and we know what happened. He sat on the couch from October to February.
Budenholzer and Nurkic this year.
Uh-huh.
A lot shorter amount of time, but it just doesn't seem like anybody specifically has a beef with Bradley Beal that's personality-based.
I know. What's also interesting to me is you brought up the other day Bobby Bonilla Day, right? The day every year,
story.
Yeah, where he gets his 1 point whatever $1 million it is, and it's and that's a deferment that's been going on since the 90s,
and it's going to go on until the 30s.
I wonder if history is going to treat Bradley Beal the same way. Because I think people will look at the Bucks and go, okay, I at least understand what they're doing. They need to pacify Giannis. They need to keep Giannis rooted in Milwaukee. And with Dame missing all of next year, how do you do that? The Suns don't have that kind of excuse. I wonder if 30 years from now, Bradley Beal will be on that list with Bobby Bonilla.
Yep.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Murata. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.